Hi again, it's Ralph, Insurance Agency Briefing. Today, Program 5 on my way. If you've joined me for the first 4, you know I started with an introduction of myself and this channel. The second program was kind of how I got started, making calls, trying to get expiration dates and so on. The third program was about how I was paid and how a commission draw just about ruined me financially. The fourth program was about the agency and the agency transition in 1985 and how the agency principal became ill and I sort of took over the operation and created programs to repay debt and sort of revive the agency from that period forward. So anyway, today we're going to pick up in the mid to latter 1980s. Now the agency is starting to generate some momentum. We're paying down debt, we're adding new business. It looks like a business that could not only survive, but maybe thrive. Only problem was, it didn't look like it was going to be something that I would have an ownership interest in. At that time, the agency was owned by an immediate family member and a close family friend. They had their reasons why they wanted to kind of keep the ownership the way that it was. Even though I'm kind of knocking on the door, what about me, what about me? It just didn't look like it was going to come together. So I began by the latter part of the 1980s to think about a different course for my career. Now I wanted to stay in the insurance business, mind you, so I thought about maybe starting an agency from scratch, but boy, that is a steep slope when you think about how do I get customers, how do I get employees, how do I even get contracts with the insurance companies, and how do I survive financially? So for me, starting an agency from scratch didn't look like it was going to work out at all. Well, another option is to buy an insurance agency. I mean, after all, there are always people looking to retire or to perpetuate their business to somebody else. I thought, surely in a town the size of Columbus, Ohio, I can find one. But you know, it's hard. It's hard to find them. Everybody wants to buy them. Everybody wants to grow their agency through acquisition if they can. And so I couldn't find any. The ones I found out about, it was too late. They had already been sold. Furthermore, I had another problem. I had no money. So even if I would have found one, I didn't have the money or the financial ability to buy one. So I thought, well, what am I going to do? And then I got the biggest break of my career. Cincinnati Insurance, a company with whom I've had a wonderful relationship over the years, identified an agency that wanted to sell. So they were going to play matchmaker and figure out a way to get me into that agency. It was a wonderful opportunity. It was a nice agency with a nice reputation. It was close to my home. And above all, Cincinnati was going to finance the deal for me. And so I said, absolutely, I'm in. And so Cincinnati Insurance put those wheels in motion. When it began to look like it was going to be a reality, I went to the 2 owners of the agency where I was working. And I just explained that something had been presented to me. It was too good to pass up and that I would be leaving their agency to go with this other opportunity. Well, as you might imagine, they were less than thrilled about the news. There was a certain sense of betrayal, which I understand. But the biggest question for them was, what's going to happen to our agency when you leave? I said, well, I don't have any intentions of taking your customers or taking your people. I just am going to start a new direction. But I didn't have a non-compete agreement. And I told them that if I was contacted by my current customers that I would write them and I would transition the account into the agency where I was going. Things were tense, things were testy, as you might imagine, which I understand. Then I was contacted by the owners of the agency where I was working with a proposal. Hey, if you're going to be leaving to go buy this other agency and you've got funding lined up, why don't you just buy this one too? So I called my rep at Cincinnati Insurance and I said, hey, you're not going to believe this, but now I have the opportunity to buy the agency where I'm working. Would you support me? And they said, of course. We will support you for that one, and of course the other one for which we are paving the way for you. And so in 1992, I borrowed $400,000 to buy the agency where I was working. In 1994, I added $1.3 million of debt to buy the second agency. In 1995, I put them together to form one agency. I had $1.7 million in debt, $16,500 a month. I was not worried about it. I mean, that's a big number, but I was so thrilled, so excited, so enthused about what I was doing, and I was just sure that I was not going to fail. And so off we went, a 12-and-a-half-year journey to get that money paid back, and so it did. It did work out. Now, that was 26 years ago when I put those agencies together. As we get to know one another better, I'm going to share more stories about those 26 years and the different things that I experienced. But this particular video entitled On My Way is how I had a fabulous break and the fabulous support of a fabulous insurance company to help me get started. Thank you. We'll talk soon.